deze CD, ora za malin, that's an certificate of one in there. And by this front we can see perfectly from here the first tourist resort in Tenerife, Puerto de la Cruz.
What is going on, travel world? What's up, y'all? What is going on, travel world? My lips looks dry. It looks ashy, but that's not why we're here. So why are we here today? Ow. Anyway, traveling really is what makes me happy. It makes me happy in different ways. Really does. And I hope it does. I hope if you're watching this video right now, you are either you're a travel person, like you've traveled a lot and you're looking for more ways to make your traveling easier. Maybe make some plans, maybe or how to organize better. Or you could also be someone who you're just getting your feet wet with traveling. All right, my lips really are dry. Maybe you're just someone who, again, you're just getting your feet wet with traveling. Oh Lord, hold on, y'all. Sorry. So yeah, maybe you're someone who you're just getting your feet wet with traveling, and you just want to know how to start, right? How to start traveling, how to what to do if you want to travel, if you don't want to travel, how to make that decision. I will say from the very beginning, travel is a good way of learning about yourself. Each time you travel, you learn something about yourself. You learn something new about yourself that you wouldn't have before. Maybe it's from the planning phase to the execution phase. So this video really is going to be about more on what to do if you're planning a trip, right? For other videos, I'm going to go more into your solo trips, right? The list that you make, the things you should really take into consideration when you're planning a solo trip versus a group trip. I'm going to go into that in all the videos. For this purely video is just for those starting off, right? You're just starting off traveling. It looks more daunting to you. And you're just not quite sure where to begin. If you really should take that leap of faith and just go traveling, right? And I'm not speaking of traveling about like just going to the countries, going to the states in your tri-state area. For some people, that's traveling to them, that's enough. No, I'm speaking more of you getting on a flight and going across the globe, across the Atlantic or Pacific, across different countries. If you live in the United States, across from the coast, so from West Coast to East Coast, north to south, across the time zones. That's what I'm talking about, right? And those can be daunting. I'm not gonna lie, it is very daunting. So my first trip was, let me see if I can even grab that for you guys. Yeah, it's fine. So my first trip was back in, like, outside of the country, 2003, when I came to this country from Nigeria. And that was itself a whole experience that I don't think I fully saw. I don't think I really fully experienced. I think I haven't experienced something from a child's point of view. Is different from than when you're an adult, right? So went to Amsterdam before then coming to the United States, right? It was an experience that still lives with me till today. I still remember a lot of things there. I still remember first getting on the flight for the first time in my life when I was, like, I think, what, 7? Sorry, I was 8. I was 8. Experiencing all of that with your siblings. It's different, right? And something that will stay with you for a long time. And I sometimes I feel like that's where my whole travel bug came from, I guess. But I think sometimes it's also my first trip outside the country as an adult. This was in 2015. I was just finishing up college, right? I had a hybrid class. If you guys know what a hybrid class is, majority of the time you are in class, and well, your class is online, but there's also an in-class concept too that you have to finish. Mine was more of a hybrid study abroad class where for the spring semester, we would be online, take online class. It was an international marketing class. And afterwards, we would then, at the end of the semester, we would spend a week in a different country. And that country was Ireland. That country was Dublin. And I think that's where my love for it kind of came from, Dublin itself. So this was also the year I actually graduated. So it was kind of like a, graduation trip for me as well. And it was very, very interesting to me. It changed everything that on how I viewed myself. So I was gonna read to you guys because I do have a blog as well for a lot of my, I created a blog that I'm going to be doing in tangent with a lot of my trips that I'm taking. Those that I've taken already, I'm gonna write more about them. And those that I haven't, I will guide you guys through it. May even go do some live videos. But after I'm done reading this for you guys, I'm gonna go into the 3 things that you need to understand and get a good concept of before you travel. All right, so I'm gonna give you a quick background on my trip. So it was the summer of 2015. I had just graduated, like I told you guys, from college, and I was set to travel to Dublin. Just to complete the travel component of my hybrid international marketing class. All right, at that point, I had been in the planning stages of this trip since I signed up for this class. So since the winter, when I had to sign up for a spring class. This would be the first time that I got on a plane after moving to the United States from Nigeria, all right? The moment I got on the air train, so I went from Jersey to Penn Station to Jamaica to get on the air train. The moment I got on the air train, I felt an eerie type of excitement that was almost foreboding. Something was going to change. And this would be an experience that would be the start of something. Whatever that thing was, I wasn't sure about it, but I knew something was buzzing. I knew it really was. So I'm going to continue to read this. And let me see, should I continue reading this or should I create a whole video for this? All right, no, I'll continue reading it. So, have you ever just felt giddy? And this is especially my new travelers or someone who just traveled out of the country for the first time or traveled by themselves somewhere for the first time. Have you ever just felt giddy? Have you ever just felt like everything you were just seeing everything for the first time through a different lens? Have you ever felt that? Have you ever felt the need to feel safe yet explorative? Have you ever been so consumed with the moment or experience that you are living that you don't even pay any mind to the outside world or its constructs? Have you? Have you? I spent a whole week in Dublin without even realizing I was the only Black female that was part of our traveling class. And I went to a very diverse school. But I didn't realize that in my class, that whole traveling class, I was the only Black female. I didn't realize that at all. And I didn't realize that I didn't come to a realization until a classmate who was of Indian descent came to me and told me that and asked me how I felt being the only Black female as part of this class. And he also then asked me how it felt moving around, like going around Ireland as a Black woman. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. It wasn't until he asked me that I realized the entire time that I was there, I was fully immersed in the trip. It never came to my mind. In each moment, in each person I met, in each pub I went into, in each tour we took, I was so immersed in my surroundings that those thoughts just never came to the forefront. Never did. Heck, I thought those who were on the trip with me were not truly enjoying the trip. I didn't think they were truly as immersed as I was. I didn't really feel like they truly grasped the opportunity that was at their feet. I thought there was so much more to do. I thought there was so much more to learn. I thought there was so much more to be immersed in. I didn't really think that, oh my God, like, you guys are just here to hang out. That's cool. That's cool. And I did a lot of drinking, I'm not gonna lie. I did a lot of going around. I mean, you're in Dublin. And I made friends that I still speak to till today. And that was almost 8 years ago. I still speak to them today. And whenever I go back there, I make sure that I visit them. And I've been back there 6 times now. I was too immersed in the experience to even realize that I was the only Black girl in my class on this trip. I was too immersed in the experience that I was feeling, so consumed with the new reality in front of me that I didn't even stop to think or even trying to ask myself, well, you're a Black woman in Dublin. How are you navigating this? I didn't. I was too immersed. I was too consumed. And that was something that kind of struck to me too, right? There is a certain calmness that comes over me whenever I travel to Dublin now. There really is, like, one of my friends told me when I first took her to Dublin in 2019, she told me, you're different here. I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, yeah, you're different. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, yeah, the way you walk, the way you move is just different. I'm like, until today, I'm like, I don't understand what she meant by that. But I do know whenever I go there, there is a certain calmness in me. A certain calmness. I don't know why. But I do know, like, it stemmed from my first visit there. All right. So, again, there's a certain calmness that comes over me whenever I travel to Dublin that now seeps into me whenever I leave the country. Now that 2015 trip, this is also the start of me randomly extending my trips. That was where it all began. At the end of that particular trip, again, it was only a week for class. We were done at the end of the summer. I had literally just graduated from college. And a classmate of mine and I decided to just head over to London. All right, London was right there, Ryanair cheap, like, let's go. Now, I was broke, but I said, yeah, let's go. It was the first time I had ever been to London. That was 2015. It was the first time I'd ever been there. All right, now, despite being broke, as a skunk, I was broke. I was eating digestive biscuits. If you know what I mean, if you know, you know. If you know, you know, okay? They're good and they're cheap. I was eating digestive biscuits. I was drinking, oh my God, White Rose, is that what it's called? Yeah, it's this little brand in the UK. It's a cheap brand. You get drinks from there. It's non-alcoholic, but it saved my life. I was eating McDonald's. I got so broke I could not afford Nando's. I was counting my coins to change from euros to pounds. Like, I had just enough money to get myself from Heathrow to the hostel I was staying in. Yep, that was the first and last time I ever stayed in a hostel. I still stayed in a hostel in in Dublin, though I spent an extra day in Dublin before I went to London. And the hostel in Dublin was really, really nice. Very nice. But yeah, I had enough money to get to and from Heathrow and back to Heathrow on the tube. This is little I did. When I got to London, I got from Heathrow to the spot I was staying in, the hostel I was staying in. And then I went to, the next day, I decided to take the train down to, I didn't go to Piccadilly, I went to Westminster. I was in Westminster? Yeah, I took the train to Westminster. It was not Piccadilly, I think. No, it wasn't. Where the Korean, is it Korean or Vietnam? I think it was Korean. There's this little memorial site right near the channel, close to Big Ben area. If you keep walking down that street, I forgot the name of the street. If you keep walking down that street by the channel, there is a memorial that's right there. It was really, really nice. And then if you keep walking down, you eventually hit Big Ben. You hit Big Ben, and across the street is, across the channel is where the Eye is, and the little McDonald's is right there. I don't know if that McDonald's is still there. But the whole time I was there, literally, I kid you not, all I wanted to do was see the Tower Bridge. Why? Because I love The Mummy. If you guys ever watched The Mummy 2, The Mummy Returns, they filmed that on the Tower Bridge in London. And I really wanted to see it. So I just walked all the way down. So I took the train, I took the tube in, got there and walked the rest of the way. I'm a New Yorker, you walk. So I walked everywhere, and didn't get anything. Couldn't even afford a bloody fucking meal off a cart. I couldn't. That was how broke I was. My classmate left for London before me, so she left a day before me. And we never actually connected in London because she went there to see her family. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to go there. I'm not going to intrude on your family. I'm going to stay in a hostel and we'll just meet up. Now, I didn't have any kind of internet, Wi-Fi. I barely had Wi-Fi. So when I'm out, if I don't have Wi-Fi, I can't contact you. So she and I couldn't contact each other. So we never really connected. Not until we saw each other back in Dublin 4 days later. And we had to board the plane together to go home. All right. So in the span of 13 days, I had my first trip on a plane as an adult and a makeshift solo trip to London. That was by myself. And I had a blast. Now, that was first and last time I ever stayed in a hostel. That was the first and last time I was ever going to go anywhere without having unlimited data when I'm traveling outside the country. But that was what it taught me. It taught me that I could travel myself. It taught me that I don't need anyone else to be happy, to have a good time. I can be by myself. It taught me that being immersed in a culture really is something that I truly enjoy and brings me happiness, brings me peace. It also taught me that I can navigate life. It's going to be tough, it's going to be hard, but I can navigate it. Right? I am street smart enough to know how to navigate my life and know exactly what I want. I don't have to sit there and succumb to anyone. I don't have to give in to anyone just because I want everyone to get along. No, I know me. I know how I am. I jumped literally foot first. I was sad I couldn't connect with my friend, but you know what? It was what it was, right? So I'm gonna share with you guys later on, in some of my videos here and also my blog, the details of what happened on that first trip to Dublin and London, the lessons that I learned, the friends that I made, the mistakes I made, and there were mistakes that were made. I will share all of those with you because I do think, especially when it comes to traveling, sharing your experiences can help someone else in the future. All right. Yeah, there's so many things, men that I met, interesting scenarios, situations I was in, learning who to travel with and who not to travel with. those were a big part of literally who I am today and why I love to travel and why traveling is part of who I am. Traveling is what makes me happy. And I want to share that with those who think that could be them as well, or who would like to just tap into their travel side and tap into their spontaneous side. So yeah, this is just a taste of the beginning. Exactly something that I wrote in my blog. What I just read to you guys was actually a story that not a story. It's actually me reminiscing about the past, and I did create a blog for this as well. Now, 3 things that I'm gonna briefly touch on for those that are new to traveling. So if you're new to traveling or you just want a refresher for yourself, because if you haven't traveled in a while, 3 things that I will say are key in traveling that I always utilize, and even I do with my mom, my sister, whenever they're trying to travel somewhere, even with some of my friends, whenever they're traveling somewhere, they ask me and I tell them this all the time, and I try to help them too. The first thing is make that list. Make a list. Make a list. Make a list of the things you want to do. Make a list of the things that you need. Make your list. Make your list. It may seem as redundant. It may seem as, I don't know, what's the right word? As late as possible, but make that list. The reason why I say is because a lot of times, like, we are so boggled down with a lot of things that are happening that we forget things. Things will pop into our heads and literally 5 minutes later, we've forgotten them. So to avoid that, make a list. Make your packing list. Make your, if you're someone who likes itineraries, make that. I don't, but make that. If you're someone who's trying to save, make the list of the things that you know you're going to need. Make a list. If you're someone who you're trying to plan a group trip, make a list of people who are actually going to show up. Again, I'm going to touch up on group trips and planning group trips, the pros and cons of those. I will go into that in a later video, but honestly, make your list. That's the first thing. Second thing, organization is key. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care. Organization is key. You want to be organized. You want to be organized in everything you do. You can be organized and be spontaneous. Those two can go hand in hand. It's not oil and water. They do go hand in hand. You need to be organized. You need to know exactly when your trip is. You need to know how much you're going to, when you're actually going to go. Have an idea of that. Who you want to go with, if you want to go with anyone, right? When you actually want to start packing. That way you're not rushing, right? Do you need a visa to go somewhere? Do you not? Information behind that. Maybe it's booking the Uber to get to the airport a month beforehand, because Uber can do that, right? Booking that car service, going into wherever it is you're trying to go to, and booking a car service to pick you up. Another tip here, depending on where you're going to, the local cab taxi is most likely cheaper than a car service. Just, again, I'm going to touch on those tips later on, but be organized. Being organized is also part of making that list. Knowing exactly where you need to go on certain days to shop for. If today's the day you're shopping for a lot of your travel site stuff, things you're going to pack. I'm going to go into that again in a little video. But you want to make a list and you want to be organized with yourself. Organization is key, especially if you're going to multiple places. You got to be organized. You got to keep yourself organized. It's going to make your planning so much easier if you stay organized. Knowing where you're going, the times to buy for ticket, when you want to buy your tickets for your trip. If it's a train ticket, if it is renting a car, if it's taking a flight, you want to have a good idea of exactly when that's going to be. All right? which means planning in advance is going to help you and help you save some more money too. And lastly, budget. With any kind of planning for trips, you want to have your budget in mind. If you're trying to travel as a group, this is especially important because your budget and someone else's budget are not going to be the same. So it's not every time you're going to want to travel with someone. That's another criteria to put down for traveling within a group. So you want to budget for your trip. I'm going to have another video regarding budgeting, how to budget, best ways to budget, tools to use in budgeting for a trip. That's also a way to stay organized, but I will tell you guys, actually budgeting out your trip is going to save you a lot of money. And it's also going to give you an idea of exactly what you want to do. Right? I do a lot of travel tips on my Instagram and my TikTok. You guys are more than welcome to follow me there. Every Tuesdays, I post a travel tip. One of my travel tips was budgeting. Budgeting for a trip. Actually having an idea of what you're trying to do and surrounding your budget around that. Right? Knowing exactly what you want to do. Having a whole separate account for that. Again, that's a conversation for a later time. But these are the three main things. Make your list. Be organized. And have a budget. Create one. Just create one. So those are the three things I would say that are really essential in trip planning. When to plan a trip, either a solo trip or a group trip. For my first timers that you've never traveled before, and either you've only traveled as a group, so this may be your first solo trip, I really do hope me just giving you an insight into how I started out, my own little journey, how I became someone that loved traveling. I really hope that kind of gives you an insight to what traveling can be like for you, how not everything may go as planned, but you just have to remember that it's meant to be in a way, because a lot of things you learn about yourself when you do travel, especially those solo ones, a lot of things are meant to be, and there is a way to stay safe as well. But like I said, we'll get more into the nitty gritty of making a list, how to make your list, how to be organized with your trips, during your trips. If you're someone that wants to vlog your trips, I will give you insights also that as well. I do have other videos on here of some of my trip vlogs that I've been so behind and actually editing those. I'm actually posting those up here for you, but I will have those up here as well. So you can see some of my trips that I've had so far. I do have a big one coming up, so I will be taking you guys through my whole planning process for that trip. It's a really big trip. I'm already halfway done, and this trip is not going to be until next year, summer. So we're already in the planning stages of those. Things are already happening. Things are moving. I already know who I'm going with. And that I believe I will be vlogging as well, if not even going live with you guys when I am there. So, or on my way there. So we're here. We're doing this together. I will be making some more videos about, again, list, organization, and how to budget for your trips. But these are on your travels. We are traveling together. We are exploring together, and we are enjoying this thing called life together. Stay tuned. Go follow my blog. Follow my Instagram, TikTok if you want those travel tip Tuesdays that I do every Tuesday or Thursday. I know. But stay tuned because I will be sharing more of my travel stories on certain days. So this has been fun. But yeah, check my other videos, y'all. I will see y'all on the next video.